The designers on Dungeons & Dragons 4th edition and a soon-to-be best-selling author. James, welcome to the show.
Thanks, good to be here.
So first off, let's talk about the books here. Storm Dragon just came out.
Brand spanking new.
So this is the first week that it's out.
It is the first time I've seen more than one copy of that beautiful book in one place.
So yeah, we've got a whole wall full of them. I mean, that's exciting.
It is very exciting.
What can you tell us about the book?
It's my second book. It's a lot more ambitious than my first. It's Eberron's first hardcover novel, so it's kind of an attempt to give the Eberron novel line a little more visibility,
right.
Make it a little bigger. The book is fundamentally...
Eberron hits the big time.
Yeah,
okay.
I hope so.
All right.
Fundamentally, it's a story about a crazy guy who breaks out of Dreadhold and tries to make sense of his role in the Draconic Prophecy and whether he has personal freedom to choose his destiny or not. It's the first in a trilogy called The Draconic Prophecies.
Okay, so there's going to be two more. So is it 2008 and then 2009, or are you still...
Something like that.
Yeah.
I am
when we tie you down to make you write them?
I am within 2 weeks of finishing the second one.
Oh, really? Oh,
so that I can take my vacation in September.
Okay. Oh, vacation? I don't know. We'll have to talk about that. I don't think...
No, I'm taking that vacation.
So, you've been involved, I mean, obviously the 4th edition announcement has been very big. You've been involved talking with a lot of fans, and there's been a lot of seminars going on and stuff. So, kind of the question I wanted to ask is, what questions have you been asked that you thought were the best ones?
Some of the most common ones. First one is, when's 4.5 coming out? The answer is it's not.
Right.
We are not going to do a 4.5. Partly because with D&D Insider, we've got the opportunity to really get updates out when they need to be made as much as possible.
To fix things, D&D Insider allows you guys to do that.
Right.
You don't
Plus,
put out 0.5.
We've been working on this game for 2.5 years. We're pretty confident that we are hammering out the kinks, and we learned from 3rd edition and 3.5 to hopefully get it right the first time.
Right. So you're not going to say there isn't going to be a 5th edition, right?
I can't say that. The way I think about my job in general is that we're constantly striving to make the game better in search of excellence. And day by day, I try to do that. Month by month, we release products that make the game better kind of incrementally. Once in a while, we get the chance to push it to the next level, and that's what 4th edition is to me.
Right. So what are I've been watching the forums and kind of following along, and folks have a lot of good questions there, and they're sort of at a disadvantage because all of us are here at Gen Con. We're all talking about it. We have fans coming up asking us questions. We're able to give them information. So I kind of feel bad that some of the folks in the forums aren't kind of getting all the information they want. As you know, when the site went live, we had millions of people doing it, brought it to its knees. I think I always like to give the guys at EN World a plug. They had problems too, trying to get info. So they really want to get this info. So what else has really resonated with the crowd that you've talked to here that we can kind of pass on for the folks at home?
One of the things that I've heard a number of people kind of cautious about from what they heard on Thursday night is the idea that we're really defining the roles on the team for the player characters. That makes people nervous in a way that I've heard in the office as well, that, well, I don't want to be so narrowly defined. But really that's not what we're doing. We've kind of... The iconic D&D party is cleric, fighter, wizard, rogue, and we spend a lot of time actually narrowing down on what is the essential function each of those characters plays.
Right.
And in the game right now, you got to have the cleric because he's the source of healing. And if you decide to play any other character, a druid, a bard with his couple of healing spells, you're just not doing as well.
Right.
So you say, I don't want to play a cleric, I want to play a druid, and everybody says, oh man, you got to have 5 characters in a party if you want to play a druid.
Right.
We introduced the Warlock class in Complete Arcane, and you think, well, it's another Arcane character. I'll play a Warlock instead of a Wizard. But you're really not doing the same thing in the party.
You still need the Wizard, right.
Right. So we've narrowed down to those essential functions that each role performs, and designed different classes to fill that role equally.
So, for example, you could have a cleric, which is great, or you could have a druid who is different from the cleric, but can fill that primary role of being the primary
just as good,
group.
right?
Okay, that's really good.
And within that role, there's lots of flexibility. For example, 2 characters designed to stand in the front line and hold back the monsters, the paladin and the fighter, are going to do that in very different ways. And also, any individual paladin is going to approach his role and fill it slightly differently.
Right.
You've still got the flexibility to build your character the way you want. You might want to be the two-handed sword wielding paladin who's really smiting guys, or the paladin with a shield who's going to concentrate on keeping your buddies safe.
Yeah, more of a defensive focused one. So so what are the 4 roles? Or I mean, are there 4?
There are 4.
So it's the tank.
Right, the fighter and the paladin are defenders who are there to make sure the wizard doesn't get smushed.
Right.
The cleric and
primary healer.
Yeah, and I read on EN World or our site this morning that there's a warlord class in the game, so that's the other leader.
Really? So you go to EN World to find out what's going on with your game, huh?
Somebody was going through the videos of the presentation and pausing and looking at individual frames, and there was something in the character generator that showed the
awesome.
warlord. So there it is.
That is excellent.
So the wizard is what we're calling a controller. There are many ways to control the battlefield. One of them is to drop a fireball over there.
So the wizard is a little more crowd control.
Right.
Okay.
And the rogue or the ranger are what we're calling strikers. Their job is to focus in on a target and put as much damage on that guy as possible.
Right, okay.
While moving around the battlefield a lot more than the fighter or paladin are doing.
So their focus is targets of opportunity, and then really unleashing a tremendous amount of damage per second.
Sneak attack is the perfect example of how the rogue does that now.
Right. Okay. And all the classes in the game will fit into one of those 4 roles.
Yes. We're experimenting with concepts that might bend that a little bit, but yeah, and the thing is also that those roles really define what you do in combat. Outside of combat, different classes are going to be...
Playing game. Everybody's different, right?
That's right.
I mean,
Yeah. The ranger and the rogue are both doing the same thing in combat, but outside of combat, they've got different focuses and different abilities.
Right, and maybe not even doing the same thing, but sort of filling that same
Exactly,
role.
yes.
Somebody who can put out that damage when you need it on the target you need it to. So
yep.
That's great. So can you think of anything else that's been asked? That's been kind of the big thing.
I don't know the thing. I've got a note here. Oh, another big question is: so is Saga Edition a preview of 4th edition, the new Star Wars role-playing game we put out? And my answer to that is that we've been working on 4th edition for 2.5 years, and everything that our department has produced in that time has been influenced by where we were currently on 4th edition.
Of what I mean, there's been a lot of thought about how to improve the game, and when you have good ideas, how can you not put that out and stuff?
Exactly, and it's sort of that same thing I was talking about before, that we're constantly trying to improve the game. And as we get the great ideas that are shaping into 4th edition, we're going to implement those elsewhere as well. The Book of Nine Swords reflects an earlier draft of where we were in 4th edition.
Right.
Saga Edition is a much more recent draft, but it's not exactly what 4th edition is going to be.
And Saga Edition has been really very well received.
Yes.
I mean, people have really said, this, you guys have hit it, so this has been really good. So that gives me a lot of...
People are really happy about the things that we're also really happy about being in 4th edition.
Right, yes. So that gave me a lot of hope just to see how well received, that one was. And it's like, well, okay, if that's some of the ingredients going into 4th edition, maybe this will be really, really cool. So
yeah,
that's great. So you got a few more seminars this weekend?
I'm doing a D&D Q&A this afternoon. And I'm doing a seminar tomorrow on getting your kids into D&D. I've got a 10-year-old son who is an avid fan.
Really? I can't imagine how he picked that up.
All these miniatures around the house. They're fun to play with.
So, but I want to give your book a plug. I appreciate you coming on the show and talking. And like I said, a lot of folks in the community, they really want to get some information. So, I appreciate you coming in. But it's Storm Dragon. It's on sale now. It's going to be a bestseller. James guarantees it, right?
No.
Okay.
But it's bestseller quality. I can say that.
Quality. All right. That's the spirit, man. That's the stars. James, thanks for coming on the show.
Hey, my pleasure.
I really
Thanks.
Appreciate it.